Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
What is your name?
My name is Aubrey, or Bree for short.
Hello, Aubrey. Thank you for giving us some of your time today.
Yeah, no problem.
How old are you, Aubrey?
I am 31 years old.
31. Do you have any siblings, any brothers or sisters?
No, I don't.
So you're an only child? Wow. Did you grow up with both your parents, your mother and your father?
I did, but my dad was kind of in and out my whole life. So my parents were, they were married and divorced to each other twice. So very, you know, I get used to it being just me and my mom, and then my dad would come home, and then, you know, vice versa.
So not having your father there was kind of rough on you as a child?
Yeah. I was a daddy's girl, so I was, you know, that hurt me a lot.
Where are you from?
I'm from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Wow, South Carolina. What brought you to Philadelphia, PA, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, my boyfriend and I were going to New York. That's where he's from, and we just wanted to go somewhere new. And I was driving and I thought I was going the right way, and you know, we ended up here on accident, and we had to cop everywhere along the way here, and we literally like Googled where to get good drugs in Philadelphia, and it said anywhere on Kensington Avenue, and we came here, and literally, don't think it doesn't happen, we got stuck. I mean, it is a real thing. Like, we haven't left since, pretty much.
So you're here with your significant other?
Yes.
And you guys are living on the streets?
Yes. For like 5 years.
Wow, so you've been out here for 5 years. How do you get by on a daily basis, like food and maybe to purchase more of your fix?
I panhandle, like right here at like Lehigh in Frankfurt. So I got, you know, the cardboard sign, wave. I have, like, you know, I do get a little help from my mom. That's kind of like slimming down, because, you know, she's right. You know, she's enabling me, and, you know, she's like she says, you know, like, what if she sends me money one day and then like she gets a call, like, you know, and the money came from her, you know, and that's what, you know, killed me or whatever, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, she worries how I'll get the money elsewise if she doesn't do it, but now, like, she realizes she's not helping me, you know. It's been going on for like 10 years. My mom's been dealing with this, so it's just a long time.
What initially made you begin using substances? What was your first substance of choice?
I mean, I smoked weed, and when I smoked weed, like, if it wasn't like natural, like pills or anything, like, I would be like, oh, get the hell away from me. And then, you know, I started, you know, using like Percs and pills, and like, I didn't really know anything about withdrawal or addiction or anything like that, and so, like, when they took it away from me, I was, you know, sick, and I was talking to my best friend at the time about it, and I had gone to the doctor. It was summertime, you know, in Myrtle Beach. You know, we usually be throwing up and sick like that, you know. And I'm like, I don't know, I don't got the flu. Like, what's going, you know, all this, I don't know what's going on. He's like, you're addicted to those pills. He's like, you're going through withdrawal. I'm like, what do you mean? He's saying if I don't get more of those pills, I'm gonna be sick. He's like, yeah. I'm like, for how long? He's like, I don't know, like a week, maybe longer. I'm like, oh no. So, you know, and I started asking, you know, where can I get more of these pills? And I started buying them, and then, you know, and everyone started getting arrested, and the pills were just harder to get. And one of my friends was like, oh yeah, you know, dude's gonna come over and bring you something like way better than Percs. So I, you know, I thought it was gonna be like Dilaudid or some other better, you know, opiate or something, and they had these little baggies, and I'm like, what the heck is that? I was very sheltered my whole life, so I didn't know any like street slang or anything. Like, oh, it's horse. I'm like, what the heck is that? And he's like, it's smack. I'm like, it's heroin, and I didn't even know you could snort heroin. Like, I'm like, what? I'm like, get that away from me. What are you talking about? Like, I don't shoot up. And he's like, no, you can snort it. And, you know, the whole thing with heroin, switching from pills to heroin, is it's cheaper and it's stronger, but it just builds so quickly. Like, I remember I did half of the bag and was like, wow, and then, you know, the next day I bought a bag and it was 2, and it was 4, and then it was a bundle, and
So you choose to snort heroin?
I did, and then after about 9 months into it, I started shooting up. And I shot up for like 10 years. And actually 10 months ago, I switched to, I smoke it now. I haven't shot up in like 10 months, which I mean,
so,
it's a start, I guess, you know.
So you tried all three ways, snorting, shooting, and smoking. How would you describe the feeling to somebody who has never went down that avenue? What would you describe it as?
Well, I always say like it's like the feeling of not feeling. Like it takes like every, you know, I don't know if that makes sense. Like it just at first when it hits you, it like you just feel like this warm. It feels like someone's like dumping warm like honey, like almost down your back. You just kind of like melt. Like, you know, you have no like fall asleep or like you have a cigarette burn right down in between your fingers and burn you not even know until you know sober up and then you're hurting. But I don't know. It kind of feel like it like takes the feelings away. You know what I mean?
Okay, so Kensington, the state it is right now. What are your thoughts on it? What do you feel towards Kensington?
It's a huge culture shock for anybody. Like when I came from the South here, it was a lot different though. I feel 5 years ago. Like 5 years ago, you could walk anywhere up the street and just shoot up walking. Like I remember I was like, where can we do this shot? And, you know, I went down like right down the main part of Somerset to the Ave, and I remember going to like Emerald Street when it was Tent City, and just a bunch of people down the street all smoking crack and shooting dope. And I'm like, okay, wherever I guess, but I feel like I don't think it's a bad place. Like, I mean, I don't know. I feel like you can learn a lot about, like, it's definitely like, I like what you're doing here, just to show like it is a real thing. And there's a lot that people don't know that they need to learn about and see like firsthand. You know what I mean?
How are the resources? Do you think there's any resources in the city to help you? Have you tried any, let's say, rehabs maybe? Something that can help you follow a better path? Has that worked out for you?
So, you know, I done the Suboxone thing and that didn't really work for me. But right now
What is Suboxone, if you don't mind me asking?
Suboxone is so it's like a strip put under your tongue. You kind of have to wait until you're pretty sick, but it's, you know, supposed to help. It doesn't get you high per se. I mean, if you didn't do heroin or dope or whatever, it would probably get you high. But you know, you put it under your tongue, and it's supposed to keep you basically well, not. But I feel like that worked more with like real heroin than like with this whole fentanyl. And I feel like it seems like every time they come out with something to counteract, they put something else in the dope that it doesn't touch. You know, like now Trank is in the dope, and they don't have anything to like. Trank withdrawal is like really scary. It's almost like withdrawing from alcohol. People like shake.
Wow, so
it's really scary.
So Trank has its own withdrawal symptoms?
Yes.
Wow.
Like if you do like dope and like say you're sick and you do Trank and fentanyl and you do something with just fentanyl in it, you'll feel a little bit better, but you won't be all the way well. And like people that have really serious Trank habits, like I have a friend that has a really do like 12 bags of a shot, and I mean like they have to do a shot like every like 3 hours, like and 12 bags, that's like $60. That's a lot of money. Like I just can't imagine. I don't even do that much in a day. Like that's a lot. But anyway, you can actually have like a really serious seizure, and it's scary.
So let's talk a little bit about you. Food. Do you have any foods of choice? Something that you enjoy eating?
Oh, I love pasta. Like
You love pasta? Alfredo?
I like to cook, so like stuff like that. Or just, you know, my mom's like classic, like your, like homemade mac and cheese and pot roast. Just good, stick to your ribs, home cooked food.
Do you have a favorite beverage, a drink that you enjoy drinking?
Cherry Coke is my favorite.
Cherry Coke's your favorite? That's awesome. Do you have any favorite childhood cartoons, TV shows, or movies that you like?
I liked Rugrats when I was a kid. Sesame Street and all that, of course. And I watched Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I was very sheltered, like I said, but I watched that and The Big Comfy Couch.
There you go. Yep. You got any favorite music?
Yeah, my dad played music my whole life. Like, he had a band my whole life and sang. So, he played like contemporary rock kind of music. So, I love the Goo Goo Dolls. That was totally my thing when I was a kid. But I like all different kinds of music. I mean, I am from the South, so I do like country music. It's like my guilty pleasure, when I'm by myself.
That's awesome. Okay. In this life that you live and everything that you've experienced, is there anything that you would like to change? One thing that you can change in this world, and why?
I just wish I could change, like people don't judge people so quickly, and no one's situation is the same. Like, for example, you could have two people, like, this guy's mom died from a heart attack and this guy's mom died from a heart. But like, I promise you, like, it's not the same. I'm not saying, like, I just hate when people are like, I know exactly what you're going through. Yeah, but you don't judge anyone, like, walk in their shoes. Let me tell you, I've met some of the most amazing people out here. Like, it can happen to anybody. I know lawyers, doctors, every kind of, that can. I always tell people, like, that are, like, cruel. I'm like, what if you went home right now and your house burned to the ground? Like, you're basically be in the same situation as me. So, just like, people to, like, just stop and maybe listen. Or, like, I always, like, on my sign, usually it'll just say, like, even a smile helps, like, just like a little friendly hello. You could really make somebody's day. So.
Absolutely. So I have one last question for you, right?
Sure.
If somebody was watching who was considering coming down to Kensington for the same reasons that you came down here 4 or 5 years ago, when you said you wanted to explore the open air market, what advice would you give them? Would you try to stop them?
Yeah. Don't be by yourself. Don't trust anybody. I've learned a lot of lessons the hard way. I have a good amount of friends here. My true friends, I can probably count on one hand, and it's not all 5 fingers. But, like, drugs make us do, things we never thought we would do. I mean, my significant other and I even have done horrible things to each other, taken off on each other with money, or burnt each other, or, like, and just, like, stick to, like, there's this young boy out here right now that I've been talking to. He's kind of been, like, losing his mind. I feel like everyone's out to get him, and, he's like, I stick to myself, I'm like, well, sometimes it's better to be, like, near some people, because when you're by yourself, you're more of a target, and, better in numbers. But I would say, be very cautious, and it's dangerous out here. We get shot with paintballs and BBs and real guns. It's crazy. And it is a real place. And you can get stuck. I used to laugh when people would tell us that, and we sold our car and everything, and came home was just like that. Didn't care. And here we are, still.
Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah.